Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Sandler Partners National Summit 2023. Thank you all for making the trip to Huntington Beach. I'm Lindsay Janis, your Summit MC, back for a fourth year. I'm thrilled. This is our biggest summit yet, with more time than ever before to learn and grow together, to get to know each other better, and to have fun. We have 2 full days for panels and speakers and visits to provider booths. We have cocktails tonight, and tomorrow, our first ever awards gala. Some of you are even going to go on excursions later in the week. This is sacred time away from your day-to-day lives, and we want to help you make the most of it. And it's a good thing that we have more time, because the complexity of our world and your roles as technology advisors to your customers has never been greater. There's precariousness everywhere you look: politics, the global economy, international relations, climate change. And there's a technology revolution already happening that promises to upend our lives in ways both beneficial and potentially terrifying. Your customers need your expertise and your courage to explore new solutions. And there's no better place than right here to find the support and inspiration you need to grow your business in the year ahead. You may also have noticed that there are more of you than at any other time in Sandler's 20-year history. So I'd like to invite Alan Sandler, your managing partner, to the stage to talk to you about the phenomenal growth you're all achieving together and to give you his outlook for the channel as a whole. Please join me in giving Alan a warm welcome.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thanks, Lindsay. Welcome, everyone, to beautiful Huntington Beach. Thanks for making the time to be here over the next couple days with all of us. I think we had about 1,100 RSVPs. Not sure how many made to this room, but wow, there sure are a lot of you out there. Whew, after this first hour, this summit's gonna be so great. It's just this first hour of this first day, standing up on this stage with all of you out there terrifies me. A month ago, I was totally stuck. What the heck should I share with all of you while I'm up here? I basically had nothing but off the charts anxiety. So I put some music on my AirPods and I headed down to the beach. I probably wasn't paying attention, true story. Car stopped short and startled me by blasting its horn, which got me thinking, if I got hit, at least I wouldn't have to stand up here on the stage. Like, how hurt would I have to be? So believe me, none of you want to live in my head. And by the way, I don't want to mislead anyone. This photo is just a recreation of how I reacted when the car horn went off. I really do find this public speaking thing torture until you laugh at a couple of my jokes, so humor me today. It's always tough to figure out what to share, what are the best topics. So leading up to the summit, I reached out to a few of you, and I had our team reach out to a few of you to say, what themes, what topics should we discuss today? So if you don't like the topics today, it's your colleagues' fault. Fortunately, you all had some really great topics. Unfortunately, I don't know the answers. Thanks for humoring me. Now seriously, from all areas of the country, we got similar versions of the same questions. Many of you still had concerns, even though I said, I don't want to sell or take private equity. Circumstances could change. What happens to all of you? So more on that in a minute. Another question that came up pretty often was, how will all the investment and consolidation affect the channel, Sandler Partners, and all of you? And what's Sandler doing? A little inside information, or what are we doing to react to all those changes? And finally, AI seemed to be on everyone's mind. And we have coming up an AI panel about all things AI in a couple of minutes. So let's get started. How many of you were in the room last year for my opening presentation? If our technology is working right, and it might be, anyone that's glowing green on your little click device was probably here last year. I can't believe it worked. Yes. You all might remember my joke about selling to a French conglomerate. Does anyone remember that? And then I announced we're not for sale and we're not going to sell for 10 years. Well, I thought a lot about it the past year. I was wrong. I should have sold. Totally kidding. We're not going to sell. We're not going to sell. Still, over the past year, many of you did reach out to me and say, we believe you don't intend to sell, but what happens if you do? What happens to us? So I asked, well, what would you want to happen if we sold? And the replies were pretty consistent. You all said you want to make sure that your commissions would be continued if somehow a sale took place. And you asked, well, if a sale ever took place, could we also partake and sell part of our base? So the commission question's pretty easy. Commissions are guaranteed with your contract with us. If we're paid from a carrier, you're paid. And a buyer would have to assume those obligations unless you're terminated for cause. But I went a step further, and I put together a commission purchase agreement that will allow some of you to sell part of your base if Sandler Partners was ever sold. So, of course, many factors would affect how much you could sell over what time frame and what multiple. And these are some of those factors, kind of like what's the size of your base, how fast is your business growing, the diversity of your customer mix, basically et cetera, because these are the elements that a buyer would use to value Sandler. Also, we're not private equity, so relationships and heart will matter in these negotiations. If our team likes you, you might get a better offer. And finally, this will not be a fast process, and it would be done on an individual basis because each of you is so unique. But again, I am not selling. I'm not selling. But knowing your commissions are protected and you could participate if some unexpected transaction happens, I hope that makes everyone feel safer with your decision to work with Sandler Partners. And could I get just a show of hands, how many of you would be interested in that extra level of safety? Good to know, good to know. So we're not selling, but we're going to have that option just in case something happens someday. So now, if you'll indulge me for a few minutes, I've been reflecting on how and why I started Sandler Partners. And since I've got the microphone, you don't really have a choice, I don't think, unless they pull me off. And I wanted to talk a little bit about our values. This is a photo of me and our current in-house counsel, Alec Arago, back in the late 1980s at a wedding. And we're doing our best impression of a Miami Vice, LA Law look. This was when I was a litigation attorney in San Diego. And it didn't matter back then whether we won or lost a case. I was always going home every night with a knot in my stomach because watching people tear each other down sucks. So I realized then I wanted a career that at the least wouldn't depress me. But if I could find something that was exciting and made me excited to get up in the morning, that would be so much sweeter. Years later, when I started Sandler Partners, I think John Protas might be in one of those pictures, yeah. When I started Sandler Partners, I was handling customers directly, and like all of you, I was making recommendations to help them grow and save money, and that felt great. It was also wonderful to bring opportunities to providers and know they wanted to pay commissions for it. And I was proud to tell my family and friends what I did, even though most of them still don't understand what we do, and they can't understand why I can't fix their cell phone and their computer problems. But when I speak with many of you about what you want out of your careers, you outline similar goals and values. You say you want to be able to support your loved ones, take care of clients, enjoy coming to work, and helping others. And you want to feel supported and part of a community. You don't want a distributor to drag you down. You want a partner to lift you up to help reach your goals and your dreams. When you feel safe and happy, you're at your best. I think the proof is in this room. The people on this channel are amazing. And I noticed that also last night at the reunion reception. It was so good to see everybody. But I see and feel the goodness in almost 98% of you. But no, in all seriousness, there's this outside world, right, of news and politics that if you pay attention, it could be so divisive, scary, and mean-spirited. But in our world, I only see encouragement. I know when I go on LinkedIn, for example, I'll see huge support for the whole community, whether it's because you accomplished something great or commenting about an event we've had, or even when some of you are sharing kind of vulnerable challenges that come your way. I see the responses of positivity in both words and actions. It's really like there's two different worlds, and this special one is all of ours. Speaking of two worlds that seem so diametrically opposed, you now have only two very different choices in the channel. On the one side, you've got Sandler Partners, and on the other side, you have all the companies that have taken private equity money or are publicly traded. I was ready to go on a 20-minute rant today with about 50 quotes that weren't so kind to private equity, but I asked Lindsay, and she said 50 was probably a bit too many, and we covered some of this last year, so I'm only going to share 49. Dad joke. Thanks for humoring me. Last year, I explained why we didn't want to sell to private equity. This year, I wanted to basically answer everyone's question about how private equity's consolidation of the channel will affect all of us. I came across a book called Plunder, Private Equity's Plan to Pillage America, written by Brendan Ballou, who served as special counsel for private equity at the Justice Department. He basically outlines 3 problems with private equity. 1, private equity tends to invest for the short term. 2, they tend to load up the companies that they buy with a lot of debt, and they'll extract a lot of fees from them. And 3rd, private equity companies tend not to be held legally responsible for the actions of their portfolio companies. He concludes the business model isn't so much investment, it's extraction. Now, I might have gone a little too far with this private equity slide. But traditionally, private equity's aim has been to flip the companies it buys in, say, 3 to 5 years for a profit. Compare that to Sandler Partners, where we've got a 20-year investment horizon. Which company do you think is more likely to invest in resources and relationships with employees and with partners? Think about it. If you buy a house to flip versus your forever home, which one gets the cosmetic facelift and which one gets the investment in infrastructure and foundation? The housing analogy made me think of a children's story with a straw house, a stick house, a brick house, and a big bad wolf. You can all guess who I imagine owns the straw house and the house of sticks. But when I think about it now, I say, is outside money the pig in the straw or stick house? I'm not so sure. They might act as the wolf. They let the house fall apart and then wolf up any of the profits. I ask because, believe it or not, if private equity can't manage to flip a company for profit, it doesn't matter. They can take costs out like tools and people to get the returns they want. Or they can even bankrupt the companies they buy and still make money for real. Truthfully, it's hard for me to imagine that any of the TSDs that have been invested in or purchased will go bankrupt because it's a recurring cash flow models, so you can kind of predict your future cash flow. So they'll probably make money, but at whose expense? Obviously, the interests of private equity do not align with the interests of employees, agents, and providers. So private equity will have an impact in our channel. It won't be a 100-piece marching band with horns blaring out changes on day 1. It'll be more like pain and suffering by like 1,000 cuts. And one day, the agents will wake up and they'll think, what happened? I used to know everyone over there. They cared about me and they were responsive. I wish I could just get somebody to pay me my commissions on time and accurately. As for the publicly traded company in our space, their shareholder interests aren't aligned with agent interests either. They're under pressure to show increasing profits every quarter. Even if short-term gains could hurt long-term strategy planning and relationship building, I'm willing to speculate this is why some channel leadership at the publicly traded TSD were let go and others recently resigned over the last couple of weeks. Again, contrast that with Sandler. We don't have to worry ourselves about pleasing investors or shareholders. Freedom to make the best long-term decision for the whole extended family has been in our DNA for all 20 years that we've been in business. Even the company name, it's 2 words, Sandler Partners, me and all of you. I started Sandler Partners in 2003. Approximately 2 years had passed since my uncle Herman Sandler, founder of Sandler O'Neill, died in the Twin Towers. Too many good people perished in that building collapse. I remember thinking like my uncle, I wanted my name on the company so we wouldn't be just a cold, heartless corporation. And I could also, in my own heart, do it as a tribute to my uncle. One reason I often do the Sandler Partners beach towel is because I always remember visiting him and hanging out at the beach with the Sandler O'Neill towel. It was very cool a couple of years ago. I saw this photo of Tom Brady's son on Instagram with the Sandler O'Neill towel because he and his family were hanging out with one of the surviving partners from my uncle's firm because they're buddies. More on the Sandler towel later. So I know everyone is different, but for me, as I've mentioned before on this stage, even a couple of years ago, friendships, relationships, and the challenge of growing the business are the reasons why I won't sell. When greeting everybody last night, I was actually wondering, are the public shareholders or the private equity investors at the other distributors' conferences? Nah, there's no way they're there, right? But today in Huntington Beach, we have our team, our leaders, our extended partner family, and me. All the stakeholders are in this room. Thank you, that means a lot, I appreciate it. A lot has changed for the stakeholders of Sandler Partners since 2003, and an amazing transformation's taken place in the last 24 months. I think the whole channel's noticed our meteoric organic growth of people, partners, business, providers, and tools since 21. We added so many people that our payroll has jumped 66% in the last 2 years. A good portion of the increase was adding new employees, but a substantial piece was also due to raises and promotions, because we try to build and keep the type of culture where nobody wants to leave. Again, bricks, not straw or sticks. Take a look at the tenure of our leadership team. Got Caesar a week out of graduation for UCLA, and he's closing in on 19 years. And our recent investment hasn't just been in people, we've also invested in tools and technology. And I want to take just a quick moment to thank our finance and accounting team, because without the financials they produce, we wouldn't have felt secure enough to expand so rapidly over the last couple of years. And the expansion and the investment is our reaction to the changes in the channel. So over the next couple of minutes, I just want to illustrate how all the investment is benefiting all of our partners. Along the way, I'm going to highlight some of the unsung heroes of Sandler who have your back. And I apologize in advance to a lot of the team members that I'm not going to be able to mention all of you and your incredible achievements. But let me start with the teams that protect your commissions and make sure you get paid as expected. Just over $1.5 million. That's the amount we've spent or invested in the last 18 months on outside counsel to protect our partners and advocate on your behalf. Sometimes it's just a letter from counsel to a provider stating the breach or the harm to our agents' commissions, and it's enough. But unfortunately, a few times we've had to go down the litigation trail. This recent advocacy has won our partners just over the last year back pay of just under $1 million and potentially millions more in residuals. But let's talk about real value. Some of you know chocolate is my vice. So I like to think of how many Trader Joe's 1-pound Belgian chocolate bars that $1 million recovery would buy me. That's 166,000 pounds of chocolate. Now, if you look on your table there, you all have one of those 1-pound chocolate bars. Help yourself, never too early to have chocolate. And another great example that I was thinking about, a few years back, I think 8 or 9 years, we had a protracted legal dispute that was resolved in favor of our partners. So the commissions have continued, and they resulted in $10.5 million in gross commissions to our partners through July of this year. That's 1.75 million pounds of chocolate. And just a few weeks ago, our legal advocacy prompted a carrier to reverse proposed changes to their rules of engagement that would have caused partners across the channel to miss out on millions of dollars. So in these disputes, we realized that the carriers just have a different interpretation of the agreement we have between each other. Doesn't make anyone a bad person. So we just let the legal system work itself out. Our desire is just to clear up the disagreement, protect our partners, continue to strengthen our relationship with the carrier, and move forward. And one last legal note before I move on, always remember to check the commission section of the portal so you can see which provider agreements are evergreen and give you the strongest protection. It's pretty cool. Well over 90% of the business we sell is through providers that automatically pay after the original contract term with a customer if the customer continues to use the service. So thank you to our legal team. But legal is not the only department that has your back when it comes to commissions. LeBron James is the NBA all-time leading scorer with 38,000 points that took him 20 years to achieve. Apart from the fact that LeBron is not a Golden State Warrior, he's still amazing, 38,000 points. But our Sandler commission assurance and auditing team would make it to the Hall of Fame for just 1 year of work because they have already handled 75,000 commission trouble tickets for you year to date. 75,000. Some tickets are for thousands of dollars that we think are owed to agents, and many times it's for a few dollars, sometimes even for a few cents. We don't discriminate with your money. If your badge is green right now, we've opened a ticket for you this year. Now, sometimes one of you raises your hand and asks, where's my commission on a particular deal? Or you say, I think I've been underpaid on a contract. Most of the time, and to me it's shocking, how many of you go through all the work to close a deal, and then you forget to send a copy of the contract to the contract inbox. And we need that, right? So we can enter your contract and we're in a position to track and audit and make sure you get paid. This year, our team has already found and fixed 7,000 unknown orders so we can get you paid correctly and on time. But to make it easier for our team and make sure you get paid even better, please just make a note of this email address. And here's another great stat that just shows the effort of our commissions team. Each time a partner raises their hand for us to open one ticket, on average, our team has already opened 37 other tickets on behalf of partners. The goal is for you never to have to raise your hand. So far this year, we've recovered $2.5 million with Sandler proactively initiated tickets, and the year's not over yet. That doesn't include the $1 million we recovered through the legal process. That's another 416,000 pounds of chocolate. Thank you, commissions, for making sure we get paid on the orders. Some of you might be wondering, how many orders? 2 years ago, we entered 17,000 new partner orders. This year, we're on pace to enter 28,100 orders. That's 63% organic growth. And the first thing that happens when those orders are sent into the contracts box is our magnificent team members in the Philippines, they work so hard to decipher what's being sold, what are the expected revenues, when payment should start, so that the audit, commissions, and data assurance teams can get you paid correctly. For 20 years, or 240 straight months, we've issued commission statements and released your payments by the 15th of the month and earlier when holidays intervene. In years past, the commission team members have released your commissions on time from their honeymoon, from Alaska, and for real, right outside the hospital delivery room. Thank you, Drew Kenworthy. Our average hold time on your money is 15 days. So let me try to be really clear about this. A few months ago, I saw an email from another competitor said they were excited to move up some of the carrier commission payments from a 2-month holder delay to a 1-month delay. The commissions that we receive from carriers on the 14th of the month, you receive on the 15th. Just a few hours. On average, it's a 15-day hold. Thank you to the phenomenal team who works all day, every day, to get you guys paid correctly. Speaking of getting paid, since this time last year, the accounting team has provided over $2.5 million in loans to partners against future commissions, so they could invest in their businesses or use for a down payment on a new home or for other reasons. I did promise someone I won't mention the number of chocolate bars again, but they are $6 a piece divided by $2.5 million if you wanted to know. Let us know if you're interested in securing a loan or selling a deal for upfront cash, or you want to sell part or all of your base, and finance will do an evaluation for you. I think the fanatical support with commission protections and access to loans are just some of the reasons all of you are referring agents to Sandler to become partners. We want to thank you for that. New partners are signing up to work with us in droves. Last year, we brought on 875 new partners, and this year we're on pace to bring on 1,200 new partners. So please keep sharing the positive vibes you feel about our team with agents in the industry looking to leave the straw houses for a little more security and support. Can you lift up your badge if it's turned green right now? You've joined Sandler as a new partner since 2021. Thank you for joining our community. And thank you to our incredible partner services team for onboarding all the new partners, making you feel welcome, and introducing you to all our resources, both tools and people. And speaking of tools and people, I gotta give props to our tech and innovation department. First of all, thanks for making sure the company has not been compromised by any outside attacks, and for building the best overall partner tool set in the industry. Now, I have to admit, I'm a little bit sensitive on the tool subject. That's because a bunch of new agents that joined our community told me they were shocked to see the strength of our portal, our tools, and our resources, because the old distributor would say, don't go work with Sandler partners, they don't have any tools. I think our competitors know how strong we are now in so many areas, they had to make something up. But I blame myself for not doing a better job of directing the team to get the message out on our homegrown tech. So for the next 2 hours, we're going to talk about every detail of every tool in our portal. Okay, bad humor, but just give me 3 minutes to highlight a couple things here. Okay, if you look at your badge now and it's green, that means you've used Scout. For those of you that haven't, Scout's our in-house built tool, allows you to type in location information and get instant availability for pricing, for bandwidth. I think many of our competitors outsource an industry tool that might lower their partners' effective commissions. You can also use Scout for automated bulk lookups for multi-location customers. Another homegrown tool, and this one's actually my favorite, is our Solutions Finder. And we're very excited to debut today a live beta version with some incredible upgrades. So now, you can type the kind of service, whether it's UC and collaboration, contact center, SD-WAN, or something else, and dynamically, it'll bring up all the providers, and just like the online car shopping apps, it'll compare the features offered by the different providers side by side, and it'll create a report that you can send to your customers. So visit the Sandler booth to check it out, or just go in the portal. It's pretty cool. Could I get a show of hands? How many of you would like us to develop these tools as private labels so you could sit with a customer and show them all the information with your company logo on the site instead of ours? You guys would like that? I apologize, it was a trick question, sorry. We've already released scoutforsolutions.com. It's a private label site many of our partners are already using. The private label site is for both Scout and the Solutions Finder, hence the name Scout for Solutions, but obviously I need to do a better job of getting the message out. If anyone's badge is green now, that means you promised to check it out and use the tools. Earlier, I spoke about all the trouble tickets the team opens on your behalf. If you want to see the proof, you can log into the commissions section in the portal and you can see all of them. And of course, while you're in the portal, track your progress toward our superstar trip to the gorgeous Chileno Bay Resort in Cabo. I know the resort's amazing because Broadvoice took our top producers there a few months ago, and they were kind enough to bring me along also. I love that resort so much, we just booked it for our superstar winners. Other carriers, providers, are not catching the hint how to get mentioned up on the stage. Just invite me on a trip. No, actually, I really love Broadvoice because their DNA is so much like Sandler Partners. They have a great service they stand behind, and they treat their team and our partners like extended family. So thank you, Broadvoice. One last note on the tools. I want to congratulate the partners who are already running successful marketing campaigns using our free Marketing Center resources, not having to buy your own marketing automation tools. One tool the Sandler team has not built for me yet is the tool to stop time, and I'm running low. But I want to quickly thank our brilliant partner experience team that helps so many of you with your opportunities. Many partners have said they love working with Sandler Partners because of their relationship with partner experience and our incredible sales engineers. It's not unusual for the size of opportunities to triple or quadruple when the sales engineers get on the phone with your customer. And if somehow provisioning goes sideways for a customer or something else is amiss, partner advocacy steps in to help you along the way. So I just want to say thank you for allowing me to take a little bit of this time to show you all how much we care about supporting you. We're grateful that you all choose to partner with us. The results are in. Over the last 2 years, the amount of new monthly contracted revenue that you bring us has grown 69%. That's tremendous organic growth, so thank you. In case I ramble too much on stage here, which I'm known to do, here's really what I want you guys to take away from today regarding the changes in the channel in Sandler. We're here for you with protection, support, and enablement, with the best people, tools, and providers. We're not here to flip for quick dollars or get returns for public shareholders. We've invested, and we will continue to invest because we care about your success in business and in life. I've said this every year at our summit, and nothing has changed. Our team comes to work every day knowing without our incredible partners, we don't exist. For the work of the internal team at Sandler Partners, for the partners and provider partners in this room, we really are one big ecosystem, one huge extended family. Each and every one of you has helped us build it, so the whole family is always welcome in our big brick house. Can I get a thundering round of applause for our team and all of you?